February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names. That might be why when I stood next to Meech, your knees buckled. Your knees buckled. Put your back against the wall. It's boss Ricky Rose just got word. Meech concert not happening tonight, but 305 is going down at the office. Meet us there. Bam.
He said, how did Meech have information on you and give it to Tammy so you could get caught up in it? How did that happen? So that means you got to go back to the movies.
Okay, so
right, that's
Meech and Tammy was trying to get Suarez.
Oh, Meech and Tammy was trying to get Suarez.
Exactly. But when the government found out she was in contact with me, they switched the investigation toward me.
The streets lit up fast when word broke that Big Meech had some strong things to say about Rick Ross, and this wasn't just casual talk, it was a message straight from lockup that hit the internet like a bomb went off. For years, folks have whispered about the connection between Rick Ross and BMF, especially after Ross used the BMF name, the stories, and the whole outlaw image to build some of the biggest songs of his career. But this time, it wasn't fans arguing online or old interviews resurfacing. This time, it was Big Meech himself sending his own voice out into the world, and he wasn't sounding too pleased.
I'm watching movies. I'm like, man, acting must just be reading lines off of paper, like something like this. And when I get there, they're like, hey, don't look at the paper. Imagine your mom and dad in the casket right now.
People who followed the Meech and BMF legacy know he doesn't speak out unless something truly rubbed him the wrong way. And this new audio clip showed that whatever happened behind the scenes had finally reached its boiling point. In the leaked message, Meech allegedly called out Rick Ross for something that instantly set the hip-hop world on fire, cutting off funds, not small money, not a loose check. We're talking about real support that, according to the message, was supposed to be steady. The idea alone had people shocked because, for years, Ross always acted like he was locked in with BMF forever. He built a whole era of his career off the image, big chains, big talk, big moves, so hearing Meech speak out and claim that Ross allegedly turned his back when it mattered most.
Yeah, so look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget.
That shook plenty of people who thought there was loyalty between them. As soon as the audio spread online, fans started asking all the big questions. Was Ross really supporting Meech financially all this time? If so, what changed? If not, then why would Meech call him out like that? Some folks believe there's been tension brewing under the surface for years. They feel Ross enjoyed the shine of the BMF brand, but didn't always show real love to the people who lived that life for real. Others think this might have been triggered by new deals, new money, or new partnerships that made certain promises harder to keep. Either way, the timing of the audio was too perfect and too suspicious to ignore. And the twist that really threw gasoline on the situation, 50 Cent stepped right into the conversation without even trying. It didn't matter that the message wasn't directed at him.
For him, outside of mentioning me, when things get bad, you mention me, it gets cut.
50 has always been connected to the BMF story through his hit show, and he's always kept a close eye on anything involving that world. So when Ross got called out, people ran straight to 50's pages waiting for his reaction. They know 50 never misses a chance to comment on anything involving Ross, especially when it makes Ross look bad. And as expected, 50 didn't hold back. He didn't name names, he didn't say too much, but the moment he dropped a post hinting at the situation, the whole internet went wild. But before we jump deeper into 50 Cent's role, let's break down why Meech speaking up is so shocking in the first place. Big Meech is someone the culture respects because he's been behind bars for years but still finds a way to keep his image, his mind, and his legacy sharp. He doesn't get online and complain. He doesn't beg for attention. So when he decides to speak up, people listen. And the tone in his voice, frustration, disbelief, maybe even a little disappointment, had fans wondering what took place behind the scenes for him to finally call Ross out like this.
I know that they say I was the only person that 50 Cent up. I ain't know that. I'm gonna be honest. Tony Yayo told 50 Cent himself, y'all could Google.
Some insiders claim the problem started with certain business people around Ross, not Ross himself. According to them, Ross promised certain things years ago, And while he may have tried to keep those promises, the people handling his business allegedly let things fall apart. Others believe the tension started when Ross began distancing himself from street topics altogether after multiple controversies. Ross went from rapping about the streets every song to focusing on investments, luxury, and expanding his empire. Fans think Meech might have felt forgotten in that transition, especially if he expected loyalty to remain the same regardless of Ross's evolution. But even beyond the loyalty talk, there's a big conversation happening. Should artists profit from real-life stories they weren't personally part of? Should they keep paying forever? Or does the connection fade with time? This whole situation reopened those questions fast. Ross built some of his most iconic tracks on the BMF aesthetic. Blowing Money Fast became part of hip-hop history. For many, that song and that video cemented Ross's relationship with the Meech legacy. But now, with Meech calling him out, fans are starting to wonder if the relationship was ever as close as they thought. There's also a rumor floating around that this tension didn't just start with money. Some people believe Meech wasn't fully happy with how Ross used the story, name, and image of BMF in ways that didn't always match the real history. Some felt Ross exaggerated things for the music. Others think certain family members of Meech silently questioned some of Ross's claims but never said anything publicly.
Tony Yayo said, I wouldn't do that if I was, because Tony Yayo know them niggas ain't got no money. Come on, man, look at Tony Yayo and Auntie them niggas.
If the new audio is real, then maybe this frustration has been sitting there for years, just waiting for the right moment to spill into the public. When fans started analyzing the audio, looking for clues, tone, and meaning, one thing became clear. Meech sounded serious. There was no joking, no laughing, no playful tone. The message felt heavy. It felt direct. And that's exactly why it shook the hip-hop world so deeply. If someone else complained, people might brush it off. But when Big Meech speaks, the entire culture stops and listens. And while Rick Ross hasn't publicly responded yet, social media is already doing its part. There are people defending Ross, saying nobody knows the real story and everyone should wait before judging. Then there are others reminding the world that Ross has been connected to BMF for more than a decade. And if Meech himself is upset, that means something real might have gone down. The truth is, nobody knows everything yet, but one thing's for sure. This story is far from over and the reactions are only getting louder. Once the internet caught fire with Big Meech's leaked message, the spotlight swung straight to Rick Ross, and every move he made suddenly felt 10 times louder. People were watching his posts, his likes, his captions, his stories, trying to figure out if he was going to clap back, explain, deny, or just pretend the whole situation didn't exist. But the craziest part, Ross stayed quiet. Quiet in a way that made the silence feel even louder than a response. And the longer he stayed silent, the more folks started believing that something behind the scenes had definitely gone wrong, because Rick Ross is not the type to stay muted when his name is trending heavy across the whole timeline. And while Ross was trying to keep things calm, 50 Cent stepped in with that trademark smirk energy that people know too well. Anytime Ross is in the hot seat, 50 seems to magically appear, almost like he's been waiting backstage with popcorn. And it didn't take long before 50 posted something slick online, hinting at the situation without even having to say Rick Ross's name. Fans instantly understood what that meant. They knew 50 was watching Meech's message like it was breaking news, and he saw this as yet another moment to highlight the long-standing tension between him and Ross.
You struggling making that G-Unit film studio out there in Louisiana where that cheapest land at. You thought you was gonna be able to do it. You thought you was gonna be able to get them loans, and it ain't. What's wrong?
But this time, it wasn't just rap beef. It involved Big Meech, BMF history, and the streets, which made everything way more serious. 50's connection to BMF is strong, not just musically, but through the TV show that revived the whole story for a new generation. He spent years developing that show, working with Meech's son, and keeping the legacy alive in a respectful way. So the moment Meech allegedly called out Ross, fans believed 50 would feel some type of way because he's been one of the loudest voices supporting BMF publicly. And sure enough, his reaction made it clear he wasn't surprised by the allegations. If anything, 50 almost seemed like he'd been waiting for someone in that circle to finally speak up. But why would Meech speak out now? That's the question everyone's been asking. Some people think the situation isn't actually about money, it's about respect. They believe Meech felt like Ross has been using the BMF brand for years, gaining from it, shining with it, and becoming a bigger star because of it, but then distancing himself creatively once he no longer needed that identity. A lot of rappers change their direction when they level up, but if someone helped inspire your rise and you suddenly stop showing love, That's the type of thing that can create tension that lasts for years. Another wave of rumors suggests that certain documents or payments tied to business deals were supposed to be handled differently. Maybe someone in Ross's team dropped the ball. Maybe certain promises weren't kept the way they were originally discussed. Maybe Meech just got fed up with being patient. The problem is, when big money and big legacy are involved, even small misunderstandings can turn into giant conflicts. And in this case, the moment Meech's voice hit the internet, it gave every rumor a new level of credibility, even the messy ones that people didn't want to believe before. Still, it's important to note that Rick Ross has always spoken highly of Meech in interviews. He's shown love, he's praised the movement, he's kept the story alive through his music. So for this situation to reach a point where Meech felt disappointed enough to address it publicly, that says a lot. People close to Ross believe he will eventually clear things up because staying silent forever is not his style. But until he speaks, the internet is writing the story for him, and that's the dangerous part. Once social media gets involved, the narrative starts shifting in ways nobody can control. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is clearly enjoying every second of this chaos. He doesn't even have to say something mean. One emoji, one meme, one little hint, and the entire timeline starts dragging Ross without hesitation. And honestly, this situation gives 50 leverage. It gives him something he can poke at whenever he wants. Because if someone like Meech, someone Ross publicly praised, feels let down, that's a serious blow to Ross's credibility in certain circles. But the wildest part of this whole thing is the ripple effect. You can already see the industry splitting into quiet corners. Some rappers who are always close to BMF are posting cryptic messages. Some are subtly siding with Meech. Others are staying completely silent, hoping the drama fades away before they get pulled into it. It's almost like a new chapter in hip-hop politics, and nobody wants to make the wrong move or say the wrong thing. Behind bars, Meech definitely knows how powerful his voice is. He knows that one message can tilt the entire culture. So for him to send this out now, people believe he might be preparing for something bigger, maybe a statement, maybe a clarification, maybe some deeper truth that hasn't been revealed yet. His supporters say he's tired of outsiders controlling the narrative of BMF. He wants the real story told correctly. And if he feels Ross didn't hold up his end of the loyalty, that's the type of thing Meech won't let slide quietly. And for fans, the biggest question remains, will Rick Ross and Meech ever clear the air? Or is this the start of a long-term fallout that could change the way people view Ross's early career? Because let's be honest, Ross without the BMF energy is a whole different artist. That chapter gave him momentum at a time when he needed it most. It shaped some of his most iconic moments. And now that connection is being questioned publicly by the man himself, the man who lived that reality, the man whose name Ross shouted out proudly on some of his biggest records. And with 50 Cent throwing his reactions into the mix, the situation becomes even bigger. 50 knows how to take one moment and turn it into a full cultural event. He knows how to keep the spotlight right where he wants it. And this time, the spotlight is pointed directly at Ross while Meech's voice echoes in the background. This drama isn't going away anytime soon. The story is growing. The discussions are spreading, and the next move, whoever makes it, is going to shape the whole narrative. One thing is for sure, hip-hop is watching closely because this is more than just a misunderstanding. This is legacy talk, loyalty talk, history talk. And when those three things get shaken up, the streets never stay quiet.